is an all-time UXI favorite. He's a designer and strategist with 25 years of international experience based in Singapore. Mario is purpose-built to innovate user experiences for businesses using design, research, and service strategy models. He shapes the now, near, and next for brands to excel in the current culture and the rapidly unfolding future. He's also an author and speaker on creativity, innovation, and design. Mario aims to inspire brands and technologies to work on human terms and create a future that looks and feels more human by design, not less because of it. Please welcome Mario van der Meulen.
Hello, my name is Mario. If you could somehow travel back in time and meet your younger designer self, what would be the one skill you would advise yourself to master? Looking back on my younger years, I am often amazed at how my life has turned. Nothing is exactly what I had originally planned for, but all of it is much more than I had imagined. You see, I'm a rare breed. I'm a graphic designosaurus. I graduated graphic design before computers ruled the world. But for the past 25 so years, I've purpose-built myself to innovate for businesses. In 2012, I was named one of 50 innovation design pioneers in China by CBN Weekly. I use design, research, and strategy models to shape the now, the near, and the next for brands to excel in current cultures and in the rapidly unfolding ones. I currently work as the head of CX design and strategy for Tribal DDB in Singapore, and there I work with insights and creativity that are evidence-based and all geared towards designing outcomes that improve the lives of people. Let me make an assumption here. My guess is that for most of us here, our day-to-day kind of looks and feels a lot like this. When you work in transformation design or service and experience design, you work with a lot of moving parts. And it's not always easy to keep all these parts together or feel that you are synchronously and harmoniously focused towards delivering successful outcomes. In our profession, we work with various different brands and institutions. We collaborate with different disciplines across different departments with senior stakeholders, C-suites, board members, project managers, IT engineers. We lead or we contribute to teams, and those consist of our peers, from seniors to juniors, experts to novices. And it's all a high-stakes game. Lots of money is involved, as well as the hopes and the KPIs of our clients. And on these type of projects, we may be working with different people every time, or with the same people all of the time. Regardless, the reality is that for most of that time, we underperform our collective potential. And there's a reason why this happens. You see, our hardest effort comes in bringing everyone on board, everyone aligned to a plan and to a vision. In other words, in bringing everyone into a shared understanding, having visibility to choices, having an understanding of the options that we have, and then make good decisions with a grounded confidence. All that work is done through conversations. Good conversations deliver what we want to create, what we want to design as an experience for others, shape the outcomes or the changes we want to bring to improve the lives of others. We are the humans that design for other humans. So good conversations, that starts with us. If we cannot share our thoughts with each other, if we cannot build on our ideas, if we ourselves do not believe in the value that we build and deliver, Whatever gets designed won't have much of that either. And it starts with us, the humans that design for other humans. Whenever we get together for a meeting, a review, a one-on-one, a synthesis, an ideation session, the cornerstone to all of that is dialogue, conversation. This may seem obvious, but it's us people that make up conversations. That makes us users of conversations. And if we are users of a thing, we user experience designers, we should be perfectly poised to master this thing called conversation, right? Well, not so. Communication is surprisingly difficult, even though we do it all the time. Even professionals in UX fall short in the UX of conversations. There are often gaps between what I thought I said, what I actually said, and what you heard. What ideas have gone unnoticed because of weak conversations? What opportunities were missed because of a lack of awareness in creating a shared understanding? How have we limited our choices? This all leads to working with clients that make indecision the decision by which they want to survive in a fast-changing world. What I'm saying is, it's time for us to reclaim conversations. Before our designs have a value, before we adapt to change or find ways to bring change to a product, we have rants, discussions, arguments, escalations, misunderstandings. Those are the elements of the conversations that we designers and engineers and researchers, those are the conversations that we have. Now, by nature, communication already creates misunderstanding. However, designing better conversations in the practice and in the service of human-centered design, I can think of no more important role and no more important skill for a designer. Conversations are the cornerstone of our practice, and we should aim to get much better at it. I want you to think of every person you work with, every person you have to go to and speak to in the next week or so, and see if maybe you can start grouping them in their communication styles. There are 4 types of people I just do not have a natural comfort in communicating with. Some trigger me, and I get too forceful and intimidating. Others annoy me, or I lose patience, even interest in involving some of them. I know that we all share this. There are some types of people that we have a harder time communicating with because it doesn't happen naturally or effortlessly. It's nothing personal, but I know that on every project it will happen. And I have to find ways to communicate differently, to involve these people into the story of ideas, into the insights of our research findings. And that initiative is mine to take. I have to make an adjustment in how I listen, in how I accept different thinking and opinions, and how I can communicate objectively and collaboratively. Not to debate, but to create a shared understanding. As a designer, I am limited by the conversations that I cannot have, just as much as I am enabled by the ones I can have. And so the more range we each develop in having capacity to change conversation techniques and strategies, the better our design outcomes. And that starts by first understanding ourselves, what our own limitations and triggers and friction points are. So start identifying the types of conversations that are taking place and that are holding you back, and the ones that are enabling you. When talking to others, it's helpful to know what type of conversation you are in. You can do so based on a conversation's direction of communication. Is it one way or is it a two-way street? And its tone and its purpose. Is it a competitive conversation or a cooperative conversation? If you are in a one-way conversation, you are talking at someone rather than with someone, chances are you are holding a closed mind. Not much collaborative or objective thinking will happen here. If you are in a two-way conversation, participants are both listening and talking. In a competitive conversation, people are more concerned about their own perspective, closed minds, holding their own understanding of things, whereas in a cooperative conversation, participants are interested in the perspective of everyone involved, and then how they can contribute to that. So based on direction and tone, I'm grouping these conversations in 4 types. There's debate, there's dialogue, there's discourse, and declaim. It is important to know which type of conversation you are in, because that determines the purpose of that conversation. And if you can identify the purpose, you can better speak to the heart of that conversation and shift it. You can avoid to fall in conversation pitfalls. It's through dialogue that we feel a sense of collaboration. Only in dialogues can we create shared understandings. Now then, how do you start? You start by listening. Why do we not listen to each other? Well, number one, we'd rather talk. When I am talking, I am in control. I don't have to hear anything I'm not interested in. I'll be the center of attention. I can bolster my own identity. But there's also another reason. We get distracted. The average person can talk at about 225 words per minute, but we can listen at up to 500 words per minute. So our minds are filling in those other unspoken 275 words. And look, I know it takes effort and energy to actually pay attention to someone. But if you can't do that, you're not in a conversation. You're just two people voicing out barely related sentences, and you happen to be in the same place. Stephen Covey said it very beautifully. He said, most of us don't listen with the intent to understand. We listen with the intent to reply. Listening is hard because we're often consumed with ourselves. When we are consumed with ourselves, we are not in a position to offer attention to someone else. So listening involves quieting down your mind, dropping your agenda, and the urge to constantly or instantly debate. Conversations should be a story that we each feel a part of, and that can only happen if we make an effort to hear each other out with the intent to be curious about their thinking, and doing that with a quiet mind. Now, I'm not always successful at this, but I am getting better at avoiding the debate trap. Question: why do we expect others to only see things the same way we do? It's still much easier to reward people when they say or do something that you were going to say or do, or wished you had, as opposed to rewarding people when they say or do something entirely different. It's because we like what people we like. And diversity challenges this. But when we figure this out, when we figure out how to celebrate difference and how to let people bring the best version of themselves forward, well, we will actually be truly collaborating, co-creating solutions, narratives, stories, and an understanding that we all feel a part of. Turns out, we're all reluctant to engage in behaviors that could negatively influence how others perceive our competence, our intelligence, our abilities. And although this kind of self-protection feels like a natural defense in the working place, it is detrimental to effective teamwork. So one of my rules is that I stay more invested in having others change my mind as opposed to me being only invested in changing theirs. When each of us hold a shared understanding, we can inform the choices and options available to us, leading to confident decisions that are objective and to which we have all aligned to. And this is how we can change. This is how we can align and lead towards change, how we can more easily and collaboratively adapt and adopt to the new normal of today and the new normal of tomorrow through conversation skills. So how do we design better conversations in the practice and in the service of human-centered design? As I shared, I can think of no more important skill for a designer. The work we do holds the capacity to improve the lives of people, perhaps even make meaningful change in the world. I invite you all to reflect on what your own conversation habits are, how you listen, what you agree to, if or how you change the way you communicate, or avoid it altogether because of feeling triggered, intimidated, or annoyed. Our project's success depends on the conversations that we have about it, and we have to be intentional in doing so that we, humans who design for other humans, not only use the qualities of designing meaningfully, communicating our own ideas, our own thoughts. It's inherently a human quality. And it's also what makes us feel at home. And as we challenge and are being challenged, the least we can do is to ensure we still feel at home in our profession and that we use our conversation skills to create that feeling for everyone else. You are a wonderful audience, and I thank you for your attention.